Hey, it's Worth Playboy.
And my Playboys Bunny.
Welcome to our podcast where we discuss pickup, game, relationships, and
Sex.
are you taking a shower? No,
Yes,
I'm not
I
kidding.
am.
No, I'm not kidding. Today we're going to talk about basic hygiene.
It's the real deal.
This is, I always say basic training.
Yeah.
The basics, you have to lay down a foundation, a proper foundation, or nothing else will work.
No.
It's kind of like it's kind of like the weightlifting thing.
Yeah.
We encourage guys to exercise in some manner because if you're out of shape, you have a bad presentation.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
feel good and you don't have any energy. So there's all kinds of basic training, and I remember knowing, this and reading a story about one of the basically an old school PUA coach.
Yeah.
And this is when they first started doing like infields where they like meet their guys, in a town in like London and head out and go game girls together and coach them.
Yeah.
And he thought he was going to be dealing with a lot of like, language, the guys being afraid of approaching. And what he really ended up dealing with was guys that smelled.
Oh my God.
They didn't know how to dress.
Yeah.
They had dirt under their fingernails, bad breath, bad haircuts. I mean, he literally had to put a couple of them in the shower.
He had to take it all the way back.
Yeah, you have to go all the way
basics.
down to the basically to the frame.
To the nitty gritty.
Yeah, and so that's what if you really are somewhat new
Yeah.
to this. And there's always things that you don't know. I mean, that's one of the things. That's why I like put out basic training 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Was there's a lot of things that guys learn from their dads, from their brothers, from their friends, if they're in athletics, or you learn it in the military because basic
Sure.
hygiene's a big deal. Fraternities, anywhere you're around other men that are passing on knowledge. But that doesn't always happen anymore.
It doesn't. And less now, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and so with it, when it comes down to basic hygiene, before you go out, you got to shower.
Yeah. And I mean, and I do feel like I run into more and more people, men and women both, who are like, oh, I take a shower a day, or, oh,
Yeah.
I shower. I'm not gross. I mean, I'm clean. No, you're not. You're actually not.
You need to be freshly showered and put on freshly laundered clothes.
Yes.
A shirt that you wore earlier that day will not work when you're going out that evening. And I've talked to a couple girls, and I would say, and they would go out immediately after work, and I'd say, what was your worst day? And they say it's not the worst, but the guy literally comes straight from work.
Right.
And even if he's in an office job, she's like, it's just put out some effort, man.
It's true.
Girls can tell.
Yeah. It definitely like leads the way for showing the girl how much who's has spent at least 2 days preparing in various ways for this date, and you come straight from work. It tells her this doesn't really matter.
Exactly. I mean, you would probably judge the same thing subconsciously.
Yeah.
If you go home, you take a shower, you change clothes, you put on something fresh, you look your very best, and she just comes straight in from her office job.
Yeah.
She's not trying at all.
And make no mistake, office jobs are not what they are in the movies where she's like dressed to the nines and always looks fresh and fabulous. No, she's wearing a schlumpy dress. She's wearing flats. She's wearing slacks. She's wearing jeans.
They're wearing jeans because they're not customer facing.
They're wearing a cardigan that's like 8 sizes too big and misshapen. This is the way you're presenting as well, even though you don't realize it. Just because you squirt on a fresh thing of cologne that's in the truck door as you get out and go in to meet her, that is not the equivalent of being freshly dressed and freshly showered.
And just go from your head to your toes. Have a fresh haircut.
Yeah.
Or as fresh as you can. Nose hairs, ear hairs, clean ears.
Yes.
Brush your teeth. Make sure you don't have halitosis.
Yeah.
And no neck hairs, no shoulder hairs, just hands. You want clean nails, clip nails, no dirty hands.
Yeah.
You would be surprised at how many guys show up. And girls look at hands.
Absolutely.
They can't not look at hands.
Absolutely.
And the idea of dirty hands on them or in them is not enticing.
It's an immediate turn off.
And you can go all the way down to your feet. You don't want grungy toenails, especially if you end up getting naked.
And there are so many of you guys who will just leave your socks on. Yeah. And that looks so listen, girls know that guys don't have sexy feet. Yeah. But you walking around naked with your socks on looks fucking stupid.
It goes from a bad presentation to a worse presentation.
It is, yeah, it's just it's ridiculous. And your shoes. Girls notice hands and they notice shoes.
Right. So make sure they're at least clean and serviceable.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys, like I usually use an example of like a guy's, his shoes are all scuffed up and then they're shined in the second picture. And a guy said, if you're under 30, don't wear these shoes. And I respect that.
Yeah.
So, if you're wearing shoes appropriate for your age and the venue, make sure they're always clean.
Yeah.
And serviceable. You don't have any holes or rips or tears in them.
They're in good condition for the style that they are.
And you believe it or not, and why am I saying this? And for a lot of you guys are like this, because, and I look at other men that are out, and they'll have shoes with holes in them.
Yeah.
And they're out on a date. I mean, I'm like, why do we have to say these things? Because people do this stuff out.
Oh my goodness, all the time. All the time.
And that's the real deal. Everything that we've kind of mentioned, you may feel is elementary or basic, in which it is, but it's getting skipped over a lot and it hurts your game.
Yeah.
The girl she's distracted by a hair that's hanging out of your nose the whole time.
Yes.
Every time you talk or she sees, hairs on the top of your ears, she's like, I wonder what else he doesn't take care of.
Yeah.
And it goes downhill from there. It's little stuff.
And it's unfair because, every once in a while I'll be like looking at Fort Worth, like a little bit off center, and he's like, what are you looking at?
Yeah, there's
I'm
always
like,
something.
Nothing. He's like, is there a hair? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, get it. Because, in all fairness, ear hairs, nose hairs, those things grow like overnight.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They're the fastest growing hair on the body, I'm convinced. So
you just have to stay on top of it.
Yeah, so it's not your fault sometimes, but you have to really look at yourself. You can't do a quick glance in the mirror if you're on your way out to a date. You need to really do a once over.
And that is where it comes down to, these are and clothes, serviceable, clean, ironed when appropriate.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to spend a lot of money.
No.
And there's so many resources. Any of our Twitter feeds will have well-built style.
Yeah.
He always talks about simple style being winning style. And you can find your own. But again, you don't have to spend a lot of money. And nothing that we just described is expensive or costs money, really.
No.
Just clean it up. And you would be surprised because what you're doing in person, you have an advantage because you have charisma, you have your personality, you have your presence, but she still subconsciously could look for things to disqualify you for. So you just take away all those things.
Absolutely.
Any of the small things that might throw her off, you just take it away and it's not there for her to discount.
Yeah. It's true.
And it shows that you know what you're doing.
I love it. If you like this podcast, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you haven't already picked up Basic Training 1 and or 2, please do so. They are excellent resources for some of the more elementary stuff, but it's elementary stuff that we tell you and remind you specifically because it really is a factor for a lot of guys who are in the dating world, whether you're in there the first time or the 21st time.
Yeah, the less contact you had with friends, your dad not guiding you, you know, if he wasn't a big part of your life or didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And because a lot of guys go, yeah, my dad had no idea how to do that.
No clue.
And that's okay, but we can make up the cycle. And it takes nothing. It takes no time.
No.
You spin through there, you go through the book a couple times, and you're like, oh, now I've got some basics.
Exactly.
It
goes a
covers.
long way.
Yeah.
We want you to win.